Hey everyone, it's Alex here from Ninja Teacher here at Ninja Teacher Academy, and today I'm just going to go over some information about when the best time is to start teaching English in Vietnam and find a teach English job specifically. Now, the first thing I want to say is that if you are qualified to teach English in Vietnam, there are jobs pretty much year-round, and you will very likely at this time in the market in Vietnam be able to find a job if you're qualified throughout the year, except for during the Lunar New Year, which I'll talk about now when I go through the dates. So what does that mean to be qualified? If you have a bachelor's degree in any subject, as well as being a native English speaker is the preference that schools have. So if you have those qualifications and you are from the US, UK, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, Ireland, then you will have a very high likelihood of getting a job throughout the country, as well as having a TEFL certification is also a work permit requirement. And then when I say qualified, I'm also referring to actually being able to teach because you do need to do a demonstration class with these schools to get the job. So a demonstration class is when you go into the school. First, you'll normally do an interview. After that, you will do a demonstration class where you actually teach a real class, and then you're assessed on that, and then the school decides whether you're hired or not. This is why we're always emphasizing doing an in-person TEFL course, like where we are right now at Ninja Teacher Academy. We offer them pretty much every month of the year, and that's why we put a lot of emphasis on that, because if you get an online TEFL, you might go into these job interviews and demo classes and not perform well and not get a job. So that's why we recommend it. So if you do have those qualifications, let's have a look at the timeline of what you might be able to expect in terms of when job opportunities are most available. Because like I said, you can usually get hired year-round, but if you're planning to come out here, it'd be a good idea just to know the best times. So if you can work around that, then it's ideal. All right, so let's start with January. So the major thing that happens in February is TET, which is the Lunar New Year. And that's normally around early February, although it's different every year. But this year it's the 1st to the 5th, I believe, is the actual holiday. But around that time, things are gearing down, right, for that holiday. And usually the holiday is actually like 10 days or more, because there's some days on each side. So I think this year, I know at least one of our teachers has from the 1st to the 10th off. Their English center is closed during that time. So during January then, schools are going to be winding down a little bit with hiring. So if it's the beginning of January, I think that's okay. You know, that schools want to pick up some teachers usually so that they're hired. So after February, they can start teaching. But if you're looking at the last couple of weeks of January, that's probably not such a good time. So, you know, late Jan, not good. So you've got that. Then obviously everything's shut down for the Lunar New Year. All the celebrations happen, after which things pick up again after February, right? So halfway through February, schools are opening again. However, everyone spent their money. A lot of these English centers have, especially the smaller ones, don't have a lot of extra cash on hand. They've usually tried to get their hiring done before February. So things are a little bit slower mid-Feb to March, a little slower in terms of hiring. So then around March and April, it's not the busiest time for hiring, but it's okay in this time. I'd say that's pretty decent. And then the thing that happens in May is that the public schools close, right? So the public schools close, and that means that teachers that have jobs in the public schools will be out of work for a couple of months, right? So May and June, they're usually out of work, which means they're often trying to get summer jobs at English centers. So there are jobs at public schools and centers. So all these teachers that have finished up the school year in May will be looking for jobs here. So they're usually looking to get some extra hours at English centers. So the market kind of gets flooded with those public school teachers. So May can be a bit of a tricky time, and that's a little bit harder to find jobs at English centers, and then obviously there aren't any jobs at the public schools during that time. So at that point, the market's a little bit tougher. So after that, we've got, it might spread over a little bit into June, but we really find that things pick up again in July, August, September, October. So during this time, there's really no issue finding jobs. There's a lot of demand for teachers. So that's a really good time. Also because there's a lot of public school jobs that start in August, because the public schools open again in August. So we've got the public schools opening. So you can either get a job at a public school around August or be hired in July for starting in August. But even in August, schools are kind of scrambling to hire more public school teachers, which means that there's also a lot of English center jobs around that time, because anyone that was at public schools is going back there. So really good time, and I would say this pretty much extends all the way until the end of the year. Now, what's also good about November and December is there's a lot of English teachers leaving to go home during that time. So, you want to go home and visit family for Christmas, or you've just decided you've finished with your time in Vietnam teaching here and you decide to go home. So a lot of schools have vacancies during that time, English centers. That means that there's quite a lot of hiring going on here. And the other thing is that less people seem to come to Vietnam during that time, because it's also a weird time to leave to go to a new country, right at the end of the year, right? People want to usually start in January or February, going on a new adventure to a new country. So we actually get the least enrollments for these courses. However, it's actually a really good time because of those factors. So if you are able to come out around here, that's also a really good time, I would say. So even though towards the end of December and, like I said, early Jan, things are starting to slow down, and late Jan, it's pretty much stops because it's right before TET. During that time though, you're looking pretty good in terms of options. So just to reiterate, if you are planning to come out in one of those slow months, don't worry too much about it. There are still job opportunities, except for those 10 days. Other than that, you can find a job if you meet those qualifications and obviously are a decent teacher. So hopefully that just gives you some insights. If you are planning to come out in 2019 to teach English in Vietnam, you can kind of plan around that a little bit if it works for you. If it doesn't, if it's in one of these months or whatever, it's still okay. Don't worry about it. But hopefully this is helpful in terms of just giving you a rough idea of what to expect. And if you are interested in teaching English in Vietnam and getting TEFL certified, we offer an internationally recognized TEFL certification. So you can check that out on our website at ninjateacher.com. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do that for more videos about teaching English in Vietnam and life abroad. And I will speak to you soon. Peace.